Hey everybody, thanks for clicking on the video. This is David Pendleton, and now we're going to be covering the Pro Division of the St. Patrick's Tournament. This is going to be the opening round. Front nine, going to get you all the wind angles here. Quite a few drops to show you as well. Everything was really good today, actually, outside of hole number 9, which I'll kind of walk you through the pitfalls that you could encounter on that hole. But, you know the drill. If you're not a subscriber, please become one. It would mean a lot to me for sure. If you find my video helpful, please take a moment there to hit that thumbs up button and give the video a like. So here we go, on to hole number 1. Hole number 1, we're going to play the first shot 10% at max. Using our trusty old Kingmaker here, we have a little bit of headwind going on. And you're going to see me line up here with about, a quarter of my blue ring there on the fairway and the rest of it in the rough. And I'm lining up at the +1 yard mark here with an extra mile 9. Now the reason that I do that is so that I can get an accurate ring pull and that I'm not at max. So I get a nice steady needle to make sure that I hit a perfect ball. Because the thing is I have 2 pro accounts. So if I were to miss the drop on the first shot, on the second shot here on my first attempt, I want to make sure that when I switch over to my other account that I'm able to duplicate exactly what I did. Now, the nice part here is I went ahead and played this one 5% at mid. And this shot goes right into the hole, and it's a really nice shot. And then I flipped over to my other account just to make sure that it was going to play true, and it did. So I'll show you both drops here. Orange ring on the rough line. You see how much of my my target there that I have in the rough. So orange ring right up on the rough line. Again, that's 5% at mid. And we're in there for an eagle. So here's my second attempt on it with my other account. And sometimes I do this just to show, that the shot did work for me 2 for 2. That doesn't mean 100% of the people are going to make it. The game's not as easy as copy and paste, but we are looking really good here on hole number 1. So 2 perfect drives, 2 perfect balls. And that one's dead center for the eagle. So first one we snuck it on the left-hand side. Second one dead center. I feel very confident about hole number 1. Confidence not so high on hole number 2. Tough hole. It's giving me problems on rookie and it's giving me problems on pro. But you can see here I'm playing this one 20%. And I'm actually playing this one 20% at max. Now you'll notice I got my red ring up against the rough line. I just try to find a landmark on this hole, just so we can kind of try to copy each other and see if some of us can get this thing dialed in. So if we take a look here at my ball guideline, my last bounce is going into that light green row. So that vertical row there is light green. It's kind of like bouncing towards the middle of it, right? You're going to notice here, we're not even close to being to drop this hole, so we really need to set up completely differently, or you can just copy that and just call it a birdie, whatever you like to do. That'll take us on here to hole number 3. Now, hole number 3, in the qualifying round, I played it to the right-hand side. I'm not as confident playing that on the right-hand side whenever we're going to get this type of wind, because I didn't know what the secondary wind was going to be when we go to shot number 2. So just in case we got hit with some bad news, I did decide to use a berserker. Now you'll see here that I'm just lining up right down the middle of the fairway. And just for accuracy purposes, I do go ahead and pull this one 10%. And then I push up to max. I'm just trying to make sure that I get a good amount of distance on this fairway here. Now, I want you to copy me. I don't want you to push this drive too hard, because the worst thing you could do is go into the rough on the top-hand side here. But you're going to see with the amount of topspin that I used and even pushing back up into max, I left myself a nice amount of room here from the fairway to the rough. I feel very comfortable with giving that shot out. So now what I like about this is we did get hit with headwind again. So the game does us no favors on hole number 3. Definitely using a power 5 ball is the best case scenario, because we don't have to use overpower on the drive or on shot number 2. We're actually just able to take this very controlled. And the reason that I like that is because this is going to be a very difficult hole to pick up an albatross on. We're really going to be playing this one for an eagle, and hoping that the opponents in our brackets make mistakes on hole number 3 and pick up a birdie here, which is kind of how I'm thinking about hole number 9 as well, because that is a very hard one too. But you can see there, we come up really nicely, and we land onto the green for a very simple putt. Takes us on to hole number 4. Hole number 4, I want you to play this one 30% at minimum. And remember, on this hole, don't have your Goliath in your bag. Make sure you have a backbone, or make sure you have, like, probably the most common club is going to be a Grizzly. And the reason that's important is because it's going to allow you to do this right here. It's going to allow you to find your absolute minimum distance line of your sniper, which is what we're looking for. If you have your Goliath in your bag, you can't find your minimum distance line on the sniper. You're going to get caught in between clubs where the game, swaps out the sniper for the Goliath, and you're kind of just doing that guessing game with it. So we hit a perfect ball here, and the elevation that I played wasn't 30%, but you can see here the speed looks really nice. That's why I want you to go ahead and play this one 30%. That way we get more of a ring pull, okay? Because you can see here that we have crosswind from left to right. If we would have pulled more elevation, it would make us pull our rings more to the left, which would have got us closer to the hole for the hole-in-one. So add the elevation there, and you're going to be closer. Hole number 5 here, I was really trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I'm going to give you a little bit of caution, okay? Because, when we see tailwind like this, we want to go for green, right? And we're able to do it, and I'm able to do it here. I'm going to show you. But what I will say is that on my other account, when I went to take this shot, I landed in the water. Now, luckily, I was able to save the birdie because I made it to the green on my second attempt. Now, I learned from my miss, one, don't hit a great left for sure, because there's too much water on the left-hand side. But you're going to notice here right off the bat, like the topspin that I'm using, it's a little bit over 5 bars of topspin. Now, I could have used a little bit more, but, this one's a little bit strange to figure out on the fly. Push back up to max after you adjust your 10%. Now, notice here, I'm using barely any overpower. What we don't want to do is use a lot of overpower, because when we push up to max, if we use too much overpower, we're going to actually miss the fairway, and we're going to go right into the water or right into the rough. So you've got to make sure that you're taking almost a normal shot here. But as you can see, the ball does what we want it to do. We roll out of the rough and onto the fairway. That's going to leave you for an easy chip in for an eagle. So that's an eagle on hole 1, picking up an eagle on hole 5. And this is what the wind angle looks like whenever you make it. Don't really need to see a shot, but sometimes people just like to see the wind angle that they have going into it. Clearly, this is a max top spin shot, offset just a little bit to the left side of the hole, and we're in and we're good to go. That's going to take us on the hole number 6. Hole number 6, this is pretty favorable wind. We get to use a Titan just because we're going to be getting this tailwind push here. As you can see, I'm aiming right down the middle of the fairway. Just trying to make sure I make it between the skinny part there. We make that ring pull. Just taking a normal shot here. It looked like a click of overpower, but we just want to make sure we take a nice controlled shot. We don't need to push this drive because we're going to be able to get into the sniper range as long as we make it onto the fairway here, as you see. So shot number 2, on this one, ultimately what I'm going to end up doing here is going for a rough bump. And you're going to notice that I don't have the graphics on the screen to tell you what elevation. It's just because I must have totally misplayed this one. And you're going to see what I mean. But I've got the top spin. I've got the left side spin here, so my ball guideline's going to the hole. Now what I did was I pulled this one, basically 1 for 1. So 5.9 wind, I pulled at 5.9 rings. I hit a perfect ball, but I'll be darned if I don't almost get stuck in that rough, which I was surprised at because of the way the wind angle was. I must need to just play this one closer to the rough line with my yellow ring. But, I would advise here that you do the bounce shot and try to get that ball. So I would go like full left side spin, use some backspin, and play it up here. not on the rough. But if you do the rough bump, don't line up like I did. You're going to notice here I have my orange ring fully in the rough for the most part. Yeah, fully in the rough. Yeah, we probably need to change that to have the yellow ring in the rough. That's probably the biggest thing that I would change if I had another crack at that one again. Okay, this is going to be hole number 7. Hole number 7, I do pick up a hole-in-one on here. So we're going to be going with the Kingmaker. And this is the spin adjustment that we need to do. I barely missed on my other account. And I missed to the right. And I used 1 full bar of right side spin. So here, I took just a little bit off. You can see I'm going with 1 back and eventually 0.8, 0.9 right. I tried to mimic my landing spot by having the orange ring on the rough, which is why you see me try to get it in there a couple times. And then you can see here just ball guide line dead center of the pin, with making sure that the tail of the ball guide line is through the hole a pretty good amount. But I've already gave you the spin adjustment, so you're going to be able to duplicate that. Now from here, again, we make our ring pull. Now this is a replay because I forgot to hit screen recording as I went. And sometimes I know those ring pulls look really weird on replays. But we pick up a hole-in-one on this hole, and I believe we picked it up on the qualifying round as well. So far so good on hole number 7. We've got your three drops you can try to duplicate on the first 7 holes. And this is probably one you're going to be able to get too. This is one that I'm getting a little frustrated on in Pro because I haven't figured out the spin adjustments right to make sure that I get myself in Grizzly range or to make sure I get myself in Goliath range. And because of viewer feedback, I'm trying to play a lot more with the Grizzly. That seems to be a lot of your club of choice, which is why you saw me play hole number 1 this time with the Grizzly. So I'm trying to do some of these rough bumps with the Grizzly. But, the problem here is I really like this drive. But at the end of the day, I guess I just added a little bit too much topspin to it, which I really didn't put that much topspin on it, especially when we're talking about headwind. So, here is what I'm going to tell you to do. If you want to take the rough bump with your Grizzly, you're going to have to get less yards on your drive. Or, if you want to take a rough bump with your Thorn, I need you to push your drive harder than I did with more topspin. And here's why I say that. Take a look at what I want you to do. I want you to play at 15% because 15% is good. And you'll just have to judge where you're at of your club. But you can see I'm close to being able to use my Grizzly, but I can't take a rough bump with the Grizzly because when I go down to the rough, it switches to the Thorn. And unfortunately here we have headwind. Now, I don't have an issue getting the topspin to the hole, as you can see here. But the issue that I had was I had to back up to the +3 yard mark to make sure that when I pull my rings, I don't accidentally get caught in between clubs and switch to the Grizzly, which may have happened if I would have put my yellow ring on the rough. But I don't know because I didn't have enough time to figure it out. But you're going to see here that I'm going to end up coming up just short of the hole. 15% was good. If we would have had more power, we would have been able to knock that ball in for an eagle. So that's my advice. Take a look at my shot. If you want to take the rough bump with the Thorn, I think it's a great shot to take for sure. We're going to have to push our drive harder to get a better rollout onto the fairway. Or if you're a big Grizzly player and you want to take it with the Grizzly, you got to get less yards on the drive so that you're in Grizzly distance. I hope that makes sense. All right, now we're on to this murderous hole here, hole number 9. Hole number 9, I wanted to take my shot and go over the rocks, which you can see here I did, and I hit a great ball, and I went into the water again, so I went swimming twice on this account, but I'm still okay after 9 holes. I'm not out here breaking records, but I'm competing at least, especially with going to the water twice. But I think it's one of Neo's accounts too, now that I look at it. But anyways, this is the way that we want to take the drive. So just pretend I'm on shot number 1. What I want to do here is lay up, just like this. But, clearly here I've left myself too much room on the fairway. I was probably just playing a little bit too cautious. And I didn't have the right club in the bag either. Here I'm playing with the sniper, where you're really going to need to play with your big dog, your Cataclysm, or even something like a Horizon like I did in Rookie earlier. Just anything that can give you a good rollout to try to get as close to the pin as possible. You know, but ultimately I pick up a birdie on this hole, unfortunately, because I hit the water on this one. And then I had to save an eagle on my other account. So hole number 9 gave me some issues. Saved an eagle on one, took a bird on the other. But regardless, out of these 9 holes, you know, we do have 3 nice drops that I think you'll be able to go out there and get to. I appreciate you watching. I do wish you the best of luck, and let me know how you do in comments. Thank you.